let's get going. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am super excited that you are here for 7 Keys to Speaking-Driven Success, how to create, promote, and profit from a speaking-driven business. And let's get right to it. So, who this is for? This is for you if you want to become a better entrepreneur of your expertise. And by that I mean speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, trainers, thought-leading entrepreneurs, and professional service providers. That is the group that I consider a speaking-driven professional, because you make money with something to say and something to sell. If you use your expertise, knowledge, or wisdom to create unique breakthroughs for your clients and audiences, this is for you. This is for you. So, there's nothing for sale. Oops. Hello. Just a little echo chamber here. There is nothing for sale on this webinar, so you can relax. You can just kind of kick back, close the door, turn off Facebook, turn off the phone, turn off the distractions, close that Facebook tab, close that Twitter tab, get the heck off YouTube. Give yourself the gift of attention. Take some good notes. You've got the 13-page detailed workbook if you want to use that. I want to make sure that you leave here with specific strategies, ideas, tactics, tools, and templates that you can use immediately. And then if you stick around till the end of this webinar, I also have some really cool, very useful gifts when it comes to speaker marketing, speaker sales, and some tools and templates that I'm going to give you at the end. So there's always a special little reward for folks that stick to the bitter end. So does this sound like you? Do you have trouble getting clients and don't know how to do it consistently? Meaning once in a while, yes. Consistently and a reliable flow of great clients, no. Do you suffer from the feast or famine revenue roller coaster with wild ups and downs month to month or week to week? Do you have great content and get great results for your clients, but you're just lost in the noise, you don't stand out, and you feel like a best-kept secret? Do you secretly know that your work is worth a whole lot more than what you're charging, but you're afraid that if you raise your fees, no one's going to pay them, and all your current clients will disappear in a cool puff of smoke? Do you start out every month wondering where your next clients and prospects are coming from? And bottom line, are you working just way too hard for not enough money and just not sure how to fix it? So if that is the case, you are going to get a sneak peek into the solutions and the strategies and the exact methods that my 6-figure and multi-6-figure mentoring clients get and use in this case study webinar. So we're not just going to be teaching, we're going to be showing you how 7 actual real live human beings, just like you, no smarter, no better looking, no better smelling. In fact, you probably smell better than some of they do, than some of them do. And we're gonna get real. This is gonna be the real deal situation of how to market, monetize, and maximize your speaking-driven business. So I'm going to start by warning you that you're in trouble. Now, you may not be in as much trouble as this guy, where his partner says, "Dear Dave, tell your girlfriend your wife and kids say hi. P.S. I cleaned out bank. You're broke. Love, Nikki and the kids." So you're not in that much trouble, but it's pretty close. And here's the 3 big problems that I see over and over and over again with the speaking-driven professionals that I work with. Number 1 is no value prop. What does that mean? That means speaker-centric messaging instead of audience or buyer-centric messaging. That means same old lame-old language. You look the same, sound the same, act the same as everyone else that does what you do. No articulation, no distinction, positioned as a generalist, totally generic topics and programs. You're guessing. You're throwing darts. You're throwing spaghetti on the wall. You're guessing, you're hoping, you're winging it. Not a good situation to be in. But I see this over and over and over again. This is probably the number 1 most common thing that keeps you from speaking-driven success. Second thing, no target market. This program's for everyone. Everyone needs to hear my speech. Everyone needs to be my coaching client. I'm open for business for anyone. Your offerings are all over the map. There's no depth, no expertise. The perception that you're putting in the marketplace, consciously or not consciously, is that of a dabbler. and you've got a very low confidence approach. So when you approach people, they have a very low degree of confidence that you can help them because your offerings are spread so thin and so far across the map. Number 3 is when you do get a live lead, when you do get someone who's interested, you have no sales process. Every sale rolls out differently. I call this accidental selling. That you never know where the next prospect's coming from. You never know who might call one day. You never know where I might get tapped on the shoulder on LinkedIn. And then all you have in your collection of strategies is a whole bunch of random nonsense, blogging, podcasting, this, that. Let me post on LinkedIn. Let me try Google+. Let's do some live streaming, see if that works. Random tactics that lead to random results. Every sale is different. Reactive, not proactive, and frankly, it sucks. So let me ask you, type in the question box, which one of these is yours? And I'll give you the 3 again. Number 1 is no clear value prop. Number 2 is no target market. You just type target market for that one. No sales process. You just type the word sales for that one. And let's see where people are on this. Which one speaks most to your situation right now? And let's wait a second for these to come in. Teresa, are you there? Can you see in the question box what's going on?
I am. I can see it.
Hit me. What's going on?
Yep. Oh, we've got 2 and 3 target. We've got sales. We've got, Jim says 1 value proposition. Barb says sales process. Sarah says sales and value. Lots of sales.
No.
Lots of sales challenges. Oh, not yet?
Yeah. No, it's great. Peter says all. Dawn says 2 and 3. Jim is 1. Laura's 1 and 3. Yeah, exactly.
Tom says all 3.
Yeah. Oh, so also Tom Ozer is asking, is there a question box? It's just the question box on the right-hand side. If you expand that little question box where it says questions, click on the triangle, drop that guy down. That's where we're doing all of our little Q&A back and forth, but it's not like a formalized quiz. All right. So that's the story. And I'm glad you guys know this because now we can work together to fix it. But, if you're in denial, it's hard to fix anything. Teresa, would you agree if you're in denial, it's really tough to get the mentoring and the coaching that you need to fix it?
Absolutely. You got to first know about it, then you can fix it.
All right. So now you guys know. Let's get to the fix. First step number 1 is you have to lay a strategic foundation. This goes back to random tactics lead to random results. So we're going to talk about defining your business model and speaking model and revenue model. We're going to talk about laser focusing your message and your value. So if that's been a problem, step 1 of this mentoring and coaching process that Teresa and I do is all about clarity. Clarity of who you are, who you serve, what problems you solve, and why corporations, associations, and groups should hire you. What problems do you solve? But it starts with what do you want to build? What do you want to build? Okay. Because people will sometimes work really, really hard and build a business that 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, they end up hating. And I mean hating. And then Teresa and I come in, we pick up the pieces, we reallocate some resources, and we have to turn that battleship around. But if you had built it right from the beginning, you wouldn't have that 6 months of painful transition. So when I say what's the empire, it really circles around these 3 questions. Business model, speaking model, revenue model. Let's dig into each one. Business model is what are you building? Is it an organization? Is it bigger than yourself? Is it a solo practice? Is it a consultancy? Is it some loose affiliation? Is it a franchise model? Is it a licensing and certification model like Michael Port, John Maxwell, any of these big empires that you see, Tony Robbins, right? By the way, you don't build an empire like that by accident, right? Someone had to plan it out from the beginning. It's not like, oh, look, I'm running a multi-million-dollar company. How did that happen? Right? There is some intentionality and some planning and some strategy that gets them there. Second piece of this is the speaking model. So really, what kind of work do you want? Think about length, think about format, think about audience, think about topic. I always tell people, what is the depth, duration, and detail? Some people love a one-night stand. Some people love being with a client for 6 months. Some people love some things in between. But you have to know. Now, as far as topic, this is the problem that I see over and over and over and over again. It's called Chinese menu syndrome. The problem with Chinese menu syndrome is that you're all over the map, you're offering everything to everyone, and this is what your prospects are thinking. Go ahead and type in the question box what this little guy is saying. What does Arnold say when he's making this face? Because that's the exact same thing that your buyers say when they see 17 different topics, all kinds of spaghetti thrown against the wall, and they have no idea who you are or what you do. So yeah, there we go. Vanessa got it. Jim got it. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? That is it. And Dave Balch says, what you talking about? What you mean, Doc? I love that show. It's a guilty pleasure from the 70s. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? So here is what you need to be doing, right? What's that special secret sauce circled on your menu? That people come to you for that one thing because it's the house specialty. And if they didn't want that specialty, they'd go to somebody else. And when they refer you and recommend you and talk about you, they don't just say, oh, you have to hire Teresa French. Oh, you have to hire Richard Melanson. Oh, you have to hire Dan LeBoux. What they say is you have to hire Dan and you have to have him come in and do his program about responsible leadership, right? You have to hire Richard and you have to have his program about small business greatness and leverage and scalability. So whatever it is, my question and my challenge for you right now, if you were to pick one thing, what would that one thing be that you want circled in bright red ink on your menu? Because if you don't commit, if you don't decide, if you don't execute to make that happen, you're going to be stuck in generic generalist hell. And here's the deal. The broad generalist is a total unknown commodity, and the specialist is a highly sought after expert. Where do you think it's easier to make more money? Highly sought after expert or totally generic generalist? I know you guys know the answer, but I just have to ask the question. All right, speaking models next. What kind of speaking? There's all kinds of speaking. Keynote, half-day, full-day, multi-day programs, training, workshops, seminars, facilitation, retreats, strategic work sessions. What's on your menu? How can people buy you? What are the different methods and modes and models? And you also have to be pretty firmly set in some pricing. So speaking, and we'll talk about fees a little bit later on, I never want to see anybody, client or not, I never want to see anybody charge less than $4,500. You charge less than $4,500, they're going to perceive you as a dabbler. They're going to perceive you as a non-specialist. They're going to perceive you, frankly, as a broke-ass loser. So you do not want to have your pricing undermine your positioning. And that's what it does if you charge less than $4,500. So somewhere in the $4,500, $5,500, $6,500, $7,500 range is where you need to be. Same for training. For those of us that do coaching, it's very common to have a $6,000 to $12,000 program that's 90 days of coaching. If you break that down monthly, that's somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 a month, right? $2,000 a month gives you $6,000 for a 90-day program. $4,000 a month gives you $12,000 for a 90-day program. Consulting, of course, runs the gamut, but minimum $5,000 to $20,000 a month after month after month after month. We just helped one of our clients land a $20,000 a month gig for 2 years. 2-year, 24-month contract at $20,000 a month. So you do the math on that, that's a $480,000 deal. Plus stock options, but I don't want to brag. So licensing is anywhere from $50K to $100K per year per company that you license your intellectual property to. Sponsorship, again, runs the gamut. We'll talk about that in step 7, but easily $25K, $50K, $100K sponsorship deals, very, very common among the clients that I work with and that I help to put that into place. Now, case study number 1. This is Forrest Gump. And really, of course, it's not Forrest Gump, but it's my client, Steve Weber. And Steve Weber is a Forrest Gump impersonator. He doesn't like the word impersonator. He's a Forrest Gump tribute artist. That's what the impersonators like to say. So he's going to kill me if he sees this replay, but that's okay. So Forrest Gump tribute artist hired by Bubba Gump to sit in front of the restaurants during their grand openings, getting paid $300 or $400 a day, and hating life. This is Steve hating life. 7 ways to Sunday, getting paid $300 or $400 a day. I love the picture in the lower left. He's with that big giant shrimp, the big giant shrimp guy with the shrimp costume on. So he said, okay, I want to transform that into a speaking-driven business. We said, all right, fantastic. Let's get you on some big stages. Let's have you do a program and not just an impersonation. So Steve and I worked together to build keynote speaker, conference host, corporate messenger, 3 flagship programs. Is he still making $300-400 a day? Far from it. We built a fee schedule that automatically positions him as an affordable expert. So 55, 62, 12,500 international conference host fees, 1-day, 2-day, and 3-day packages. First day's 5,500, 2 days for 7,500. Book him for 3 days to be the entire through line for your event. $8,500. He's got some regional things happening there because he's up in Montana. Eastern U.S. costs a little bit more, and for global, he wants to get paid for the time out of pocket. Now, that was pretty good. That was pretty good right there. Steve was a pretty happy camper once we transformed his business to that level. And here's what then we did, and this is kind of preview of step 7. We said, all right, there's a sponsorship play here. There's a way for you to get some sponsored speaking where you're not going gig to gig to gig, but that people hire you in bulk. And he came up with the Student Gumption Montana Tour. It turns out that the state of Montana is the 47th out of our 50 states in high school graduation rates. They are very near the bottom of the barrel. It's terrible. And Steve wants to fix that problem. So he calls it the Montana Student Gumption Tour. It's a 10-year project to visit every school and community in the state of Montana to help them boost graduation rates. And so he said, okay, well, who's got a vested interest in helping Montana high school students graduate and move up the ladder? Well, it's going to be companies. It's going to be colleges. It's going to be graduate schools. It's going to be employers who need a lot of new graduates and new blood. So I'll share the results of this in a second. But my question for you is, type in the question box, just based on Steve's story, what's new, one new idea along this repackaging, repositioning, multi-day, or sponsorship? There's like 5 ideas baked into one here. What's one new idea that you will use as soon as possible from step number 1, module 1 in our training today? Step 1 out of our 7 steps is Steve's story. While you're typing that, we're going to give away the ending here. Here's what Steve had said at the end of our mentoring relationship. During our work, we mapped out my 3-year plan designed to produce $1.4 million in revenue. David helped me implement and accelerate both my planning and my doing. Working with David has helped me leverage my business into some serious revenue. And that is my buddy Steve Weber at SpeakingGump.com. The difference between Steve and a lot of people who have these big ideas is Steve is a doer. Steve is an implementer. When I said jump, Steve said how high. Steve's motto was, David says do, right? I do. David says go left, I go left. David says right, I go right. He was supremely coachable. And he was supremely hungry for the results that had eluded him for years and years and years and years, making $300 and $400 a day. So Steve gets the credit, not me, because Steve took the action, Steve implemented, and he got some amazing results. So when you get your foundation right, this is the kind of success story that could be yours. Second part of this, second step, positioning and naming. So we're talking about branding, we're talking about repositioning from speaker to problem solver, and we're talking about packaging up your service menu to maximize money-making activity. First step of this is you have to be clear. You have to have a label because buyers, meeting planners, conference producers, they buy labels, right? I call this the CNN test. When you're on CNN, they put that blue bar at the bottom of the screen, they give your name, and you get 3 or 4 words maximum. Imagine Kevin Johnson's mom. He's on global television, and his identifier is simply hacker, right? If I were on CNN, it would say David Newman, marketing expert, right? You get 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. Sales, leadership, IT security, technical futurist, any of these things. I'm sharing some that our clients have in our mentoring program. So you have to embrace the label. So many people trying to escape the label. You have to embrace the label. Here is how to nail down your target market if you want that level of specificity. There's 4 keys to nail down your target market. 1 is you have to have access to them. They have to be findable. 2 is you have to have a relevant topic. 3 is they have to want to solve that problem or hear about that topic. And 4 is you have to have tangible value. You have to move the needle on some type of result as a result of your speaking, your coaching, your training, people signing up for your membership website, your CEO roundtables, your online modules, whatever it is that you're selling, right? And all of those things are part of a speaking-driven business. So the naming part of this is where a lot of people also screw up. And I will tell you, the 2 stupidest things you could possibly do, and I know some people on this call have this problem. I'm not calling you stupid. I'm calling this practice stupid, and I apologize if that offends you. Your name and associates. David Newman and associates, right? Or your initials and the word consulting. MCB Consulting. DJN Consulting. You know what that says to buyers? That says, I ran out of ideas before walking into FedEx Kinko's and getting my cards done. So I'm just going to default to DJ and Associates or MCB Consulting. Stupid as, that is like unbranding, anti-branding, total commodity kind of thing, right? Next question is, what price point does your name suggest, right? Super cheap auto has one connotation in the buyer's mind, and expensive boutique has another. So you want to make sure that your name supports your positioning. And this is about the name of your company, the name of your brand, the name of your speeches, keynotes, seminars, coaching programs, all of it. What limitations are inherent in your name or your brand? So think about that as well. Teresa, is that you coughing?
No, sir, that's not me.
Oh, very interesting. So someone's got some crazy cough going on, and so you might have clicked on the wrong link, or who knows what's going on, but feel free to put yourself on mute. It didn't sound like you, Teresa. It sounded like, a 70-year-old heavy cigar smoker. Okay, So Whole Foods. Good place to buy tires? Probably not. So does your name have future expandability built into it? And then, what's the level of audience associated with your name and with your titles? Is it just another same-o-lame-o speaker? What's your buyer's gut response when they see the name, when they see the title? Do they get it? Do they need it? Do they want it? And is it in alignment so you have the same brand that can translate to your books, your products, your programs, your coaching, your online courses, your columns in newspapers, magazines, online publications, and all of your services? So case study number 2 is Tom Davidson. And Tom Davidson came into our mentoring program as a pretty generic, although he had some good positioning, a pretty generic leadership guy. And it was about leadership for technical professionals. But that was still too broad, and he wasn't getting the traction that he knew that he wanted. So we did a deep dive into what Tom's real expertise is. And it turns out that he himself was a forester. And he has a lot of clients in the forestry and natural resource industry, and that's where we put him. So we rebranded his company Leadership Nature, did a total rebrand, whole new website, whole new everything. Everything in his business now tied into that brand. So he did a disc assessment, except it wasn't a generic disc assessment. He called it the rangefinder. And he custom created this rangefinder personality assessment for his leadership programs in the natural resources and forestry world. His blog is called Spot Fires because foresters know what spot fires are, and it's a little flare-up of an idea that you can use right away, right? Puts out leadership fires. His business cards and postcards are made out of natural wood. So he's got these postcards that he had created and actual business cards. Each one is a different kind of wood. There's an oak card, there's a pine card, there's a cherry card, there's a, I think it's a white birch card. I mean, he went all in. He went all in on this, right? He's got clients like the Society of American Foresters and the Deputy Chief of the U.S. Forest Service. So he owns this mountaintop. He is the dominant player in that universe, and he really owns that mountaintop. This was so successful for Tom that he was asked to write an article, a feature article, in the National Speakers Association magazine called Speaker Magazine, and he sort of detailed this transformation. And then I had a sidebar in that as his marketing mentor, and up there, what's circled in case you guys can't read it, it says David Newman, a marketing expert who works with speakers, authors, and solo professionals, offers the following takeaways from his work with Tom Davidson. And so I sort of abstracted what you can do with a similar thing in your business, with your topic, with your niche. So this is very, very possible, but you have to be brave, and you have to be smart, and you have to be committed. So tough love question for you guys, and feel free to type this in the question box. How effective on a scale of 1 to 10, and just throw a number in there, how effective is your current naming, branding, and positioning? How effective is that for you? And Teresa, what are people saying there?
We've got Thomas Cox says 3. Mike says a 10. Beth Genley says not. Tim Grant says maybe a 3. Richard, not very. Tom Oser, 6 to a 7. We've got Marilyn Joy says not good. She's at a 3, she says.
Okay.
Paul Zach says zilch. Serena Ward, 3, not good.
All right.
Will is at an 8. Kevin's an 8.
Nice.
Paul says not so hot.
Yeah. So not so hot. A lot of 8s. A little bit, lower scale, 3, maybe 3, says Tim. I love the humility, guys. I love the humility. I love the honesty. Because again, this is fixable. Teresa and I are not going through this to make you feel bad about where you are. We're going through this because it's a case study to show you that almost nobody has this figured out. And this is what we do, is we help you figure it out. We help you make it happen, and we do it with you. So this is totally, totally fixable. If you're fast, if you're brave, if you're smart, if you're willing to commit, decide, execute, take action, get the result. It's all about taking action. So, success story from Tom. Applying David's marketing principles and sales practices, and sales is coming up in step 6, especially around laser focusing on serving my niche market, resulted in doubling my business in year 1 and then doubling it again in year 2. And that is Tom Davidson at leadershipnature.com. So, third step, how to get to the right prospects, doing a competitive scan, and how to establish expert status. Here is a secret tip. I know Teresa's going to laugh because Teresa coaches our clients on this all the time. Everyone is not a target market. I'm sorry, guys. Everyone, right? Every man, woman, and child on the planet is not a good target market for you. You will not be successful because you can never, ever possibly reach all the people that you need to reach if everyone is your target market. So here are the steps. Here are the steps you need to take to winnow this down, sharpen your focus, get going, and get some results. Step number 1 is decide. Have you decided whom to target and serve? Second question, I'm sorry, two powerful words rather to help you with this is decide and define. Decide and define. People say, well, I don't know where to go. There's so many possibilities. I say, hey, I got great news. You get to decide. You get to pick. This isn't some, oh my God, I hope I make the right choice. This is let me make the choice that excites me, that energizes me, where I see maximum potential, maximum impact, and maximum revenue, right? So you attract what you define. You attract what you define. A lot of speakers see the speaker marketplace like this. Yellow bird, red bird, brown bird, black and yellow bird, blue bird, right? This is everybody. This is everybody. The challenge with this is everybody is if you're really loving that red bird, but you don't focus on them, you will never find this tree. Many of you don't even believe that this tree exists, but I'll tell you, this tree exists. If you want to spend your entire life, your entire career, every ounce of your creativity, energy, talent, gifts, serving a very specific set of red birds, man, those red birds are waiting for you. They're just waiting for you to come on the scene. Like the forestry industry and the natural resources industry was waiting for Tom Davidson to show up and say, hey, I'm here for you. I serve you. I help you. You're my peeps. I'm dedicating my professional life to being of service to you. Now, do you think that's going to have more appeal than going back to all the birds, all the colors sitting on some random fence? It does. Now, just as I'm showing you these birds, people say, oh no, I'm not red birds, I'm bluebirds. Well, this sucks. This is terrible. You know, all we have is the generic stuff, and then here's David and Teresa with a tree full of red birds. You need to look somewhere else, because when you look somewhere else, you're going to find this bird bath. And this bird bath that is attracting all these blue birds with water, right, with what they want and what they need and what they're thirsty for. There are just as many bluebirds as there were red birds, but you have to find them. You have to find them. You have to target them. You have to get in their face with value. You have to get in their face with relevance. You have to be the go-to person for the red birds or the blue birds or the green birds or whatever birds you want to get in front of. Now, people say, well, how do I decide? We have the answer, my friends. We're not going to leave you hanging. There's not some generic woo-woo answer. Here's the answer. 3 critical questions. Who suffers from that problem more greatly? Who needs your solutions and services more desperately? And who's going to value you more highly? If you nail the intersection of those 3 circles, and Teresa and I do this with our clients all the time, is we drill down, we get super specific. It's like tearing a Band-Aid off, right? At first it's like, ouch, oh, that was painful. And now you have clarity. And now you have focus, and now you have direction, and now you have control. Second step is once you find that tribe of people, what do they read? Where do they gather online and offline? What are they already talking about? Who else is in their ecosystem that we can start to trail and track and follow? For example, if I wanted to go after banking and the financial services industry, I would look in banking magazines. I would search for banking conferences. I would look at banking industry blogs, portals, news sites, headlines. I would look and do a competitive scan for banking speaker, banking expert, banking consultant. I would become a student of the game. So if I wanted to penetrate the banking industry, and I just literally found these with a 5-minute Google search, imagine if I had a column in all of these magazines. Private Banking, Bank Advisor, all these regional magazines. The ABA has a magazine called Banking Journal from the American Banking Association. Every state association has a banking publication, glossy publication like Texas Banking for the Texas chapter of the ABA. I could be the dominant player in this world. You could be the dominant player in this world, just like my client Tom is the dominant player in the forestry and natural resources world. So where do you start? You start online. Google is your friend. You type in banking conference, you're going to hit a whole ton of resources, right? Here's American Banker, whole list of banking conferences, right? Banking. There's a whole list then, a whole menu choice of national and regional banking conferences. That's going to lead you someplace else. That's going to lead you to the ABA National Conference for Community Bankers. It's going to lead you to new data and old data. So you can find out what were they doing in 2015 and 2016 and 2017, and what are they looking forward to in the rest of 2017 and 2018. And you're going to look at all of their training and all of their events. That might take you to a state association. So New York Bankers Association, back in 2014, they had a Women in Banking conference. That's cool. And then they also have major meetings and conferences on a whole variety of topics all throughout the year. You'd get the updated list from 2017. You'd hit the publications tab. Then you'd find their sponsors, because their sponsors could possibly be your sponsors. And again, that's coming up in step 7. But you can see how this is an integrated marketing and selling campaign. But you have to do your homework. You have to do your homework. So case study number 3 is my client, Scott McClimans, who is in my mentor program. His company is called CEO Velocity. It's a consulting and coaching firm helping leaders of financial institutions, specifically banks and credit unions, acquire ideal customers and build profitable relationships. So he also is masterful at telling his story, right? From my background in business intelligence, marketing strategy, and corporate leadership, here's what I do. I help banks and bank executives define and attract their ideal customers, develop leaders and employees focused on those customers, empower them with systems and knowledge to create and deliver great customer value. In less than 3 dozen words, he has crystal clear articulation of who he serves and what value he delivers, right? Think about that. Question number 1, what problems do you solve? Question number 2, what people do you serve? You get that crystal clear clarity, like ripping the Band-Aid off, like I just shared that analogy with you, and the floodgates will start to open. Scott has had cover stories. This is an actual cover from Credit Union Business Magazine. It is 6 steps credit union CEOs can take to maximize executive performance. That is the cover story. Scott has his picture on the cover of this industry publication, because he embraced one of the strategies that's in our mentoring program, which is around publication and becoming the dominant player in your niche. The column, and this is a different publication now, but he has a regular recurring column called, guess what? CEO Velocity. We talked about naming, branding, titling for your programs, for your company, for your keynote, for your columns, right? His company name is CEO Velocity. What's better than having the CEO Velocity column in one of the leading financial publications in his niche? Now, by the way, he hasn't done this once. He's done this 40, 50, 60 times. This is a sample from Scott's media page, and it goes down and down and down 5 pages, 5 scrolling pages of articles, feature stories, and cover stories with all of the relationships that he's built from becoming the dominant player in his niche. So I want you to commit right now. Commit right here to Teresa and me. Name one way that you're going to tighten your focus, your targets, and your goals. What are we going to let go of? What are the blue birds, the red birds, the black birds, whatever birds you want, and how will you own that mountaintop? And just write that in a few words, a couple keywords, maybe some short phrases. Name one way that you're going to commit right now to tighten your focus, your targets, your goals. And let's see what people want to do with this, because this will make all the difference. I guarantee you, this will make all the difference. So Joseph says, pick a clear target market, finally, once and for all. Beth says, list of whom I've spoken to, identify who was the most fun. Marilyn says, define a problem clearly. Stress formula for success, 5-minute healthy strategies. I love that. Come up with a good name for my business based on my niche. Fantastic. Richard says, focus on one key market segment. 1, not 17, right? This is for everyone's benefit, not just you guys. So focus on shorter retreats versus 6-month camps. Vincent says, identify what problems I can solve. Mark says, better outreach to target market. Mike says, I need to target one group. Marilyn says the same. Dawn says, thank you. You're welcome. Jennifer says, identify target market and audience. The other Jennifer says, better understand the local association of 600 members to determine a target or goal within this audience? Yes, 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 and yes. Renee Walker says, leverage my recent high-profile speaking engagements in the higher education sector. Great. Fantastic. So here's what happens when you get step 3 right. This is, again, Scott McClymonds. Very excited about the results, is what Scott emailed me. In the pipeline are 3 paid speaking engagements at high-profile leadership conferences, a large systems project with the top 10 U.S. bank, credit union CEO mastermind groups that he wants to start, a year-long CEO leadership intensive with the largest stat-based credit union trade association in the country, all from implementing the one niche, one topic, relentless focus on value and relevance. And they get it, they need it, they want it, and they want it urgently, and they hire Scott. If they get it, they need it, they want it, they hire Scott because Scott targeted their exact problems in the exact ways that they need them solved. Step 4 in our process is strategic prospecting. So this is so important that 2 out of our 7 steps are prospecting related. So your target list, strategies to make you emotionally appealing and the logical speaker to hire, and then using live ammo to get client gigs. So here's a key question. You don't need to answer this, so I want you to think about it. Who has your next prospect already on their client list? Who has your next prospect? Your next audience, your next speech, your next coaching clients, your next consulting clients, your next big $50,000 project. Who has that next prospect for you already on their client list? When you do a competitive scan, you'll find out. So you'll find out who else is out there. You'll find out what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're not doing. You need to become a student of the game. I mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. It's so vitally important. If you go out there ignorant of the marketplace, ignorant of the competition, that's not only bad for business and marketing and sales and business development results, it's bad for positioning. Because if you don't know what the other guys and gals are saying, you are at a huge risk of sounding, looking, and acting just like them. And what the successful players do is they zig where the other person zags. They go where the other folks are not. They are distinct. They are unique. They have a layering strategy where, like Scott McClymonds, he says, I work at the intersection of strategy, leadership, and technology. So those 3 intersecting circles, are there a lot of technology speakers that serve the banking and credit union world? Yes. Are there a lot of leadership guys? Yes. Are there a lot of marketing guys? Yes. He's one of a single handful. I can count on less than one hand. The people, and Scott's really probably the only one, but I'm being generous here. Let's say he's got 3 or 4 competitors that do the same triangulation around marketing, leadership, and technology. It is so much easier to have a 6-figure or multi-6-figure business when you've got 2 or 3 competitors versus 2 or 3,000. If you're a commodity, if you're a same-o-lame-o speaker, you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of competitors who look, sound, and act just like you, and that means you're dead. That means that you will never make a living in this business. That means that for you, it's game over. So I don't want this to be game over for you. I want you to become a student of the game and figure out what are the plays, what are the moves, how does the game work, how do people get hired, what are the mechanics of getting booked and getting paid in the topic areas where you want to get booked and paid. So part of this is making 2 lists. Make your dream exposure opportunities, your DEO, and then your dream revenue opportunities, which I call your DRO. And then when you do your competitive scan, again, Google is your friend. Google your topic and speaker. Marketing speaker, sales speaker, leadership speaker. Google your topic and the word expert. Google your topic and the word consultant. How many results do you get? You will get depressed, I guarantee it. Don't. This is homework. You are understanding the playing field, who's there, what they're doing, what they're not doing, and how you can zig where they zag. What I recommend as an output of that competitive research is create 2 obvious choice documents. The first obvious choice document is top 7 reasons to hire you. So this would look like top 7 reasons to hire Teresa, top 7 reasons to hire Renee, top 7 reasons to hire Dawn, top 7 reasons to hire Darlene or Jennifer or Marilyn or Laura or Richard or Stephanie or Bob. So that is number 1. And I've given you a starter set of these things. Focus on these 7 areas: expertise, currency, relevance, easy to work with, interaction, experience, and authenticity. So Dave Caperton, for example, came through this program. He's an overachiever, so he has 10, right? Top 10 reasons to hire Dave Caperton to hire for your event. And he's a humor speaker, so he customized the list. He added some things to it, like your people want to laugh, you want great conference evaluations, you want to unleash new levels of joy and passion, etc. So if you've got some custom to your expertise, that's great. If you don't, steal mine. Expertise, currency, relevance, easy to work with, interaction, experience, and authenticity. Show how and where you fit into their world. This is called the 4 arrows diagram. The 4 arrows diagram is 1, 2, and 4 of what they're already doing, and arrow number 3 is offset with where you fit in. So we did this with all kinds of people. We did this with leadership, sales, finance, marketing, customer service, health, wellness, career success, personal finance, parenting, yoga. I mean, here's what this is designed to cure. If you've ever heard, we already have that covered. We're already doing that. We're already doing sales training. We're already doing leadership training. We already have a great customer service program. Here's the magic line. You say, I know. That's why I'm calling. My program is a perfect supplement and complement to what you're already doing. And then you slide this piece of paper across the desk. Let me tell you a quick success story about this. Bryn Tillman, who's a social selling expert, she came through the program and she's just a total rock star. She did not have anything like this. And she was getting a lot of, we have social media. We've had sales training. And she created this, again, overachiever. I said, make it 4 arrows, Bryn, and she made it 5. Fine, whatever. I really recommend 4. This worked so well for her. She walked this into meetings, and she said almost every time I walk in with a single piece of paper, I slide this across the desk, that economic decision maker, by the time we're done, their index finger, has turned blue. And I said, what? Is it her index finger turned blue because they spent the whole meeting poking and jabbing at that blue arrow saying, this is what we need. This is the missing piece. This is exactly what we're after. We have to hire you. Our people need this. Our people want this. We have to bring you in. Tap, 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 tap. And a little bit of the inkjet or the laser toner got on their finger because they're literally spending the whole meeting stabbing and sweating on that blue arrow because she positioned it as the must-have missing piece in their business, right? So this is gold. Just implementing this strategy by itself is gold. Gold, gold, gold. So truth-telling time, gang. This is a yes or no question. Type Y if it's yes, type no if it's no. Have you lost money? I don't care how much. Have you lost any money by not having a good answer to we don't need that, we're already doing that? We don't need that. We already have that covered. We're already doing it. We're good. We're good. Have you lost money? Y for yes, N for no. I hope that I'm not the only one. I hope I'm not the only one that has lost a lot of money.
You are in good company. Yeah, you're in good company. It looks like yes is the resounding answer.
Well, not
Tricia
anymore,
says
though, gang,
absolutely
right?
lost money.
Not anymore, because
Right.
you're going to have your
Right.
4 arrows diagram ready this afternoon, correct? We're all going to go do this as a result of this masterclass right here. Renee Walker says yes. Rebecca says yes. Jennifer, yeah. Tad says yeah. I'm not sure if that's, those last few, I'm not sure if that's yes, that I'm going to build it this afternoon, or if that's yes, I've still lost money. But it's yes to both. It's yes to both for everybody. All right, so let's hear from Bryn. David's program was life-changing in its impact during our work. I saw a clear path to building a multi-million-dollar business. Even more important, I got into action right away. Notice the theme here, guys. Action, action, action. Action takers rule. Got into action right away and got 2 new clients just doing my homework. With the clarity I got by going through this program, I will triple the size of my business this year. And so she's doing it, by the way, with that 5-arrow diagram. You're not allowed to have 5. You're only allowed to have 4. She was a special case because she gave Teresa and me a lot of money. So she was able to, she could break the rules. I don't want you guys breaking the rules. All right, number 5 is tactical prospecting. And we're going to talk about developing client-centric distinction, some templates, tools, and scripts for you, and then we're going to start talking about fees and money. So tactical prospecting is who is like you and who's on their client list. So if you were a leadership speaker, you'd want to Google all the top leadership speakers, and you want to find out on their website, on their LinkedIn recommendations, who has hired these people. So I'm just going to pop in here, and I am going to look at the American Healthcare Association. Now, that's just a static text link, but I can do 5 or 10 minutes of research on this. I can Google American Healthcare Association, and I can look for patterns. I can see who else has spoken at their event. I can find their association website. I can look at their programs chair, their education person. I can look under the link that says conferences or events, or worst case scenario, if I can't find any of that, and it's rare that you can't find any of that, I could simply email the executive director. The executive director is the face and the voice of that association. So their primary role is PR, and their primary role is answering questions about their association, about their group. So once I find American Healthcare Association, this is their website, I would then click around and I would find under the membership tab, I would find the state associations. Because now I'm going to go to Alabama. I'm going to go to Alaska. I'm going to go to Arizona and Arkansas and California and Colorado. I've got names. I've got addresses. I've got phone numbers. I have no idea why there's still fax numbers on here, but I can fax them information. I mean, Teresa, how many faxes could they possibly get on a given day?
I would say that the chances of them being many are slim.
We could fax their brains out and get bookings like tomorrow. They're like, oh my gosh, look, a fax came in this month. It's from Teresa French. It must be important. I don't recommend faxing, right, guys. I'm just kidding. But you will see, this is a recent screenshot. I can't believe they actually have fax numbers. But hey, it's old school, right? It's healthcare. It's old school. They may still be faxing, medical records for all we know. Let's say you want to do engineering. Here's a Google search for engineering associations. Now, you've hit the mother lode here, right? You're not only getting engineering associations, you're also bringing up lists of engineering associations. So you're getting lists of lists. I popped up one of these links. Boom, prospect, 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 prospect. So this is what I mean by tactical prospecting. You have to know where to look, what to search for, how to follow the breadcrumb trail, and fill your pipeline with high relevance prospects for exactly what you do. That's the jackpot. Not spray and pray, not spamming the universe, not a million cold calls, not sending a bazillion postcards, wallpapering the world with postcards. High relevance, laser and not shotgun. Laser and not shotgun. That's the jackpot. Now, for each association, you're going to have one national and you're going to have 50 states. There's probably 10 more just like them. So I just found mechanical engineering. What I want to find is electrical engineering. I want to find civil engineering. I want to find computer engineering. I want to find all of these different adjacent and related associations. So one national, 50 states, 10 more adjacent associations with 10 more nationals and 50 more states each. That's 510 prospects. 510 people that pay speakers just like you in the engineering universe specifically. And you get to pick. You get to choose. You get to decide who to reach out to. So you're going to build a target list. This is a finite, focused, written, workable list. My recommendation is don't have a list of 510. Have a list of 20. Include 4 or 5 of your dream exposure opportunities, 4 or 5 of your dream revenue opportunities. You can use a system like what Teresa and I use. It's called Pipedrive. Pipedrive is a fantastic, very easy to use visual CRM, right? Customer relationship management. So you can see where you are with every single deal where you've reached out to them, they've reached out to you, you connected on LinkedIn, you got referred, you got introduced, you sent them a package, whatever it is. If you want to try Pipedrive out, I highly recommend this. You can jot this down in your workbook, jot this down on your piece of paper. There's a special link there, doitmarketing.com/Pipedrive. Ordinarily, if you go to the main website, they will give you a 30-day free trial. If you use this link, special link through me, you will get a 60-day free trial. So that's at doitmarketing.com/Pipedrive. If you don't know what you're selling and who you're selling it to, your tactical prospecting is going to go to hell in a handbasket. So the best tactical prospecting tool, step number 5, best tactical prospecting tool I found and that we use here at Do It Marketing is Pipedrive. So you want to check that out. It's doitmarketing.com/Pipedrive. Teresa, you want to just type that in real quick into the chat box so people
Absolutely.
have a clickable link if they want to try it out?
Absolutely.
doitmarketing.com/Pipedrive. While Teresa's doing that, case study number 5 is Copy Green. Copy Green works in the automotive niche, automotive industry. She's out there in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. Fuel relationships accelerate results, right? So it's communication, but specifically for the automotive industry. So when we were talking about positioning, packaging, messaging, branding, it's about fueling relationships and accelerating results, because fuel and accelerate, the car guys will get, and the car gals, right? I work with companies who want to create customers for life and individuals who want to build relationships that last. Again, 2 sentences rather. Crystal clear, exact, laser-focused positioning on what problems do you solve, what people do you serve. So I'm curious, just based on where you are now and based on kind of hitting some of these brick walls, how much money would a laser-focused, high-value prospecting plan bring in? How soon do you think you could hit it? Realistically, don't say $17 bazillion, because that doesn't make any sense. But could you hit those numbers that we were talking about? Could you hit $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, maybe even $15,000 a month? If your fee is $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, which it is, by the way, from now on, could you book 1 or 2 extra gigs per month, every month, if you had a sharp, laser-focused, high-value, super relevant prospecting plan? How much money would that bring in realistically in your world, given your fees, given where you are in your career, beginning, intermediate, advanced, whatever? This had a dramatic impact on my revenue, and I think it'll have a dramatic impact on yours, but only you know that. So Tim is saying $110K a month over 10 months. Dawn is saying $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Joseph is yes, $10,000 a month. Vanessa says $10,000 to $20K per month. John says $150K in a year. What else do we have here? People are kind of typing this in so fast I can't even scroll back. Yes.
Marilyn
yes,
says
yes.
10K. Vanessa says 10 to 20K.
Right.
All
Yeah,
Will's
Marilyn
at 10 to
is at
15
10K per
monthly.
month. Will is at 10 to 15K monthly. So yeah, I mean, gang, this is serious. And we're not talking about blowing up your business and starting from scratch. We're talking about a 5, 10, 15% shift with what you're already doing, with more clarity, more focus, more control, and more specificity. More specificity and more value. Better articulation, more distinction. That's really all you need. This is not rocket science. But you need the path, the plan, the accountability, and the structure to put all of these steps together and not cherry pick, oh, let's do step 1, let's do 5, let's dabble in 3, let's see if 4 works. You need to have this all together in a system. So, but yes, and yes to all those answers. So here's straight from Copy. She says, here's what I love most about working with you, and she says some very nice things. That's great. You're focused on helping us get results. This last one is the one I want to share with you. You give us everything that we need to do that. How do I know? I jumped into your program, and after the first week, using the tools I developed with your guidance, I locked in a $60,000 plus contract. And yes, it was in the automotive industry. And yes, it was in her hometown of Detroit. And yes, these people had used her before for little stuff. But when she got more specific, more focused, more clear, and that tactical prospecting started to get super, super focused, here's what they said. They said, oh my gosh, this program is perfect for us. We didn't even know you offered something like this. Because she laser focused the generic program into their industry, their needs, and their language. Hugely, hugely powerful. In 7 days, she turned over a $60,000 plus training contract from that specificity and from that tactical prospecting focus. All right, step number 6. We're here in the home stretch. We are talking about sales mindset and skill set. You know, Teresa, chime in on this. I think when we talk about sales, it is 80% mindset and only 20% skill set. Do you agree with that with our clients?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So if your mindset's not right about this, you're going to have a very hard time implementing tactics. And by the way, it's really tough to have a resilient sales mindset. Teresa and I, we are operating at about a 20 or 25% closing ratio. What that means is that 75 to 80% of the time, people tell us no. And we are still super psyched and super excited to get out of bed each and every morning and serve the clients that we serve, because we know that that 20-25% is going to be our next batch of rockstar success stories. So that's about mindset, gang. That's all about mindset. How to talk numbers so they buy, and then the negotiating piece. So let's talk about the mindset, right? You are offering indisputable value, and you have to embrace that. You have to love on that. You have to reinforce that on a daily basis. They, meaning our clients and buyers, are looking to serve their audience, their members, their attendees, their employees, their team. Research makes you powerful. Relevance makes you brave. Let me repeat that. Research makes you powerful. Relevance makes you brave. If you know, because you've studied the game, you've studied the market, you've done your competitive scan, that this is a one-of-a-kind program that is a bullseye for exactly what they're wrestling with, struggling with, and need help with, you will be an unstoppable sales machine. And I don't even want you to sell. I want you to think about this as you're sending out invitations to ask how you can help them. That's literally what it is. That's what Teresa and I do all day long. We selectively choose to invite people to have a conversation about how we can help them. So if you've been having trouble with the sales piece, right, see if this sounds familiar. Do you have problems finding buyers who can afford your speaking, coaching, and consulting? Do you have trouble filling your pipeline with serious prospects who have a real budget instead of a Mickey Mouse budget? We'll pay you $300, we'll give you lunch, right? That's not a serious prospect. Do you have trouble getting initial conversations? When you get an initial conversation, do you have trouble getting second meetings or follow-up meetings? Do you get beat up on fees? Do they negotiate you down? Sometimes they negotiate you down to zero. All of these are indicators that there's a gap in sales mindset and sales skill set. And certainly, obviously, the last one is, do you have problems closing the deal and getting the checks? Because that is probably the biggest indicator of a sales mindset problem or a sales skill set problem. So here's the biggest shift, gang. Don't look for ways to sell anything. Don't look for ways to sell your speaking, coaching, consulting, mentorship, online course, group program, whatever. Don't look for ways to sell it. Do look for ways to help people in your target market and solve their problem. Because here's why. And you guys know this because we're all sellers and we're all buyers. They can pick up the vibe of someone genuinely interested in helping them achieve success, and they can also pick up the vibe of sales breath, so that when you're more interested in making the sale than helping them, that comes across loud and clear. Here's the exact scripting that you need. For the program that we just talked about, right, you have the value conversation always before you have the fee conversation. So you lay out the value, the impact, the results, the outcomes, the emotional payoffs of achieving those outcomes, then you say, for the program we just talked about that will improve, boost, create, generate, reduce, slash, solve, fix, whatever the conditions and symptoms are that they just told you about, and give your folks the exact strategies, mindset, and skill set to significantly move the needle on the results that you said were the most important to you and to the team, the investment's only $5,500. Because you took them through hundreds of thousands of dollars of pain, problems, heartaches, headaches, challenges, gaps, opportunity cost, all of it. And when you say the investment is only $5,500, it's a drop in the bucket compared to the huge impact that your solutions are going to have. Here's a bonus tip for you. Always end your speaking fee with $500. Believe it or not, $7,500 sounds less than $7,000. $9,500 sounds less than $9,000 because it has the nasty word thousand. So we try not to use the word thousand. We like the nice friendly word hundred. It's only $7,500. It's only $9,500. It's only, $8,500. It's only $4,500. It's a piece of cake. It's easy. It's cute. It's fuzzy. It's like a golden retriever puppy. How much for the puppy? Look, he's friendly. He's cute. He's only $2,500. This is not a $2,000 dog. It's only $2,500. Oh, I've got $2,500. I can afford $2,500. Look at that cute little black nose. Of course I can afford $2,500. That's an easy sale. I'm taking the dog for $2,500. Sorry, guys. You can't have him. You can't have him. I apparently can't drink water. But you can't have my dog. Okay, case study number 6. Jim Bob Salisbury. Jim Bob, education speaker, one of my first clients actually that came through this program. He sends me a note about 3 months after graduating. He says, David, one of the strategies that you taught in that program is bringing me in $10,000 a month every single month. Now, he didn't tell me which one. So I said, dude, you can't say that to me. What are you talking about? Which one is it? And Jim Bob is in the education market, which I mentioned. He works with principals and teachers, K through 12, elementary school, middle school, high school. He does teacher in-service days. That's his world right there. And he says, it's that email template that was in your program. And this is the email template right here on the screen. I'm giving it to you. So I'm not sure if you can help me, but I'm hoping you might point me in the right direction. Would you happen to know who's responsible for selecting speakers for your blah, blah, blah conference coming up in such and such month? I have a program called whatever. I'm not sure if a high energy program like this is a good fit for your event. From what I saw on your website, I think it might be, and I would like to connect with the right person to find out. Thank you so much in advance for your help, and that's it. He says, here's what I'm doing with this email. This is what Jim Bob says to me. Jim Bob is from the South, in case you couldn't tell. He is sending this to 5 high relevance contacts per day. He's not spamming the universe. He's not blasting this out with some autoresponder that goes out to 17,000 people. It's 5 hand-picked high relevance contacts per day. 5 per day is 25 a week. He says, I get 10 or 12 responses, and a response might be, yes, I want to talk to you. No, we have no budget, or drop dead, go away, totally no response, goes to a black hole. Out of the 10 or 12 responses, he develops 3 or 4 serious prospects. Out of those 3 or 4 serious prospects, he sells 1 program. And again, he's in the education market where the fees are lower. So the fees are lower. His typical fee is between $2,500 and $3,000. But he's doing 4 of these per month, pretty much like clockwork. So that's between $10,000 and $12,000 just using this one single strategy. So here is straight from Jim Bob's mouth. David, using just one of the strategies from your mentoring is consistently bringing in $10,000 a month, working on my business week in and week out with focus, momentum, and detailed implementation assignments makes all the difference. At first, I wasn't sure of the ROI on spending this kind of money. Turns out, dollar for dollar, this program is the #1 best investment I've made into my professional speaking career. So believe me, if you were taking one strategy out of here and making 10 grand a month, imagine if you use 2 or 3 or 4 of the strategies that Teresa and I teach and preach. And then last step is leverage. Leverage through sponsorship and your perpetual marketing game plan. So I'm a believer that sponsored speaking is really the future. It is the smartest, highest leverage form of speaking. And let me clarify what that means. It's speaking not for the speech. It is speaking to help a client or organization market, advertise, sell, or promote what that client organization wants to advertise, sell, market, or promote to their prospects and their stakeholders. So this has a much bigger scope and a much bigger impact than selling single gigs. First of all, it's more volume. You're going to get booked to speak 5 times, 10 times, 20 times if you're like some of our clients. It is more customization, obviously. Often, like I said, it's 5, 10, 15, 20 gigs. Could be national, could be international in scope. It is not a speaker model. It is a problem solver model. So here's some examples. A manufacturer sponsors you to speak to their distributors. A bank hires you to speak to all their high net worth clients. A financial products company hires you to speak to the advisors that sell that financial product. A Fortune 500 corporation hires you to come in and do one of their supplier diversity programs to their minority suppliers. A pharmaceutical company hires you to do seminars and speaking for their doctors or their patient base. A software company like Microsoft or SAP or any of these big companies, Sage Software, hires you to speak to and help grow the business of small IT shops that resell their software. So think of it in terms of a triangle, that you're not getting hired by the client for the client, you're getting hired by the client to speak to a third party that they want to influence, that they want to market to or sell to or position themselves as the champion of. So case study number 7 is my client, Mike Roby. And Mike works in the financial services industry. This was his sponsorship package that he sent out. And he ended up working with a sponsorship with John Hancock. John Hancock creates financial instruments. John Hancock does not sell any financial instruments because they're not allowed to. They sell through financial advisors. So the financial advisors are who John Hancock is dying to get in front of, right? Like dying to get in front of. And so he put together, with my help and my guidance, an entire marketing plan, marketing, speaking, and media tour to help John Hancock ingratiate themselves with these financial advisor offices all around the country so that the financial advisors would get some education and training and have a great program from Mike, and so that they would think more kindly of John Hancock instruments, funds, programs, and investments. Because the more the advisors love John Hancock, the more John Hancock instruments and products that advisor is likely to recommend. So think about this for a minute, and then we'll wrap it up with the big close and some Q&A. Is there a sponsorship model that makes sense for you based on all these examples that I just shared? And again, quick yes or no. Yes, and maybe yes with some dollar signs in case you see big money here for yourself. Or if you truly don't get this, don't see a sponsorship triangle model for yourself, it's okay to type no. Teresa won't be offended. I won't be offended. We can take it. We can handle the truth. But I'm curious, is there a sponsor model that comes to mind based on what we just talked about for you?
Looks like we've got a lot of yeses, a couple not sures.
Okay.
Paul says absolutely. Marilyn says maybe Costco.
Oh, very nice.
Darrell says yes, I think so. Got to think about it, Beth says. Lori says yes, accountants who have female small business owners. There's getting specific.
Nice.
Don says not sure, we'll investigate further. Sarah says definitely. Tim says yes. Aaron says, "Do it marketing."
Yes, Do It Marketing is be a huge sponsor of Aaron. Huge. Okay,
Jennifer
fantastic.
says, "Local
And then
bank
let's,
trying to compete bigger banks." Yep.
yeah, I love that too. Absolutely. So let's hear from Mike in his own words. He says, David helped me negotiate a sponsorship deal worth tens of thousands of dollars, brought several of my product development ideas to life, advised me on how to reposition my expertise in my target market, facilitated my getting a column on my industry's leading publication, and added value in other ways I can't even measure. That's all very nice, but I'm kind of stuck on that tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars sponsorship deal that we did together for Mike. So here is the decision that you have at this point, my friends. These are 7 steps. The 7 steps are very doable, very concrete, very specific. You can try and do them on your own with no structure, no accountability, no mentoring, no help, no guidance, no format, and just, run off and do it on your own. And, I always like to ask the Dr. Phil question, well, how's that working for you so far? Because getting help is a choice and doing it alone is a choice. So Teresa and I really want to help. And what we've done is we've actually cleared our calendars for the rest of this week to set aside some time, and we may have some slots on Monday as well, to speak to you personally about how you can apply this 7-step formula to your business starting today. And the cost of these breakthrough sessions is zero, zip, nada, zilch, nothing. It's free. Now, this isn't for everybody, clearly. This is not for you if building a high-fee, speaking-driven business is not your number one priority. All 7 of these case studies that I showed you, they were ready. They were sick and tired of not hitting it. They were action takers. They were going to say, hey, David and Teresa say jump. I say how high. You have to be that kind of person. If this is not a priority for you, don't book the call. Please, don't book the call. It's not for you if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. So that doesn't mean you have to have every decision nailed down, but this is not for dabblers. This is not for dilettantes. It's not for amateurs. It's not for goofballs. This is for serious speakers and experts only. It's not for you if you refuse to follow a proven process and you refuse to take action on specific detailed instructions. It's not for you if you refuse to change your low-fee mindset and your low-fee business model. So you need to be coachable. I don't know how many more times I can say that, but it's very important. It's not for you if you're not willing to network and do some organic outreach to connect with people that you'd like to help. And it's not for you if you're down to your last few dollars and you have to pay the rent this month, because this is absolutely, there's no magic beans, there's no silver bullets. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is for you, on the other hand. So, half the people are gone, by the way. Half the people just dropped off the call, and that's great because they were the right people to go, and you guys are the right people to stay. So this is for you if you're already up and running as a speaker, coach, consultant, service provider. My definition of up and running is pretty clear. You've got a professional website. You've got some clients, maybe not a lot. Maybe you'd like to have a lot more. That's cool. And you're bringing in $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month pretty consistently. So you're not running on fumes. You're not at zero. You're not, you have to have a minimum baseline to be operating. This is for you if you have some degree of a following already, some kind of web traffic, some kind of blog, podcast, social media, online course, email list, even if it's very small right now. But you have to have something going for you. You're tired of doing okay with not enough cash flow. You are willing to follow a proven process to ramp up revenue and you take mentorship and direction well. And you're an action taker. I can't emphasize this enough. You're an action taker. You act quickly. No excuses, no stories, no whining, no complaining. And you want to put $10,000 to $20,000 in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days and build a predictable flow of clients and cash every month after that. If that's you, and only if that's you, Teresa and I would love to talk to you. And the link to go to is doitmarketing.com/apply. And Teresa, you want to just pop that again into the chat box so that everyone can see it when it pops up? Just pop in our application link. It's going to get you onto our calendars. It's going to get you into our questionnaire that's going to help us hit the ground running for your breakthrough session. And here's why we're doing it. Very simple. I wish we could say that we're just these fantastic philanthropists. Here's what it's really about. We're going to help you get total clarity about exactly what you want your speaking-driven business to look like and the exact steps that you personally should take to achieve your goals. We're going to map out that entire game plan. You can then run with that game plan, or you can ask us for help. And if you want us to help you, and if we think it's a good fit, meaning that we are confident that we can move the needle on your results, we may invite you to become one of the 5 new clients that we're taking on this month. And that's not this month, that's over the next 4 weeks. So we're doing our call early. It's April, right? It's April that we're talking about here. So doitmarketing.com/apply is where you want to go. Here's what you're getting when you hop on the phone with us. Number 1, we are going to nail down step 1 for you. Your exact business model, service model, revenue model, plus your fee structure. You will leave the call with that, whether we decide it's a good fit for you to join us or not. We are going to also nail down your topic, your focus, your niche, and your secret sauce. What's that distinguishing factor, that X factor that only you provide in the marketplace? So you're going to escape the commodity problem. You're going to escape the same-o, lame-o problem, whether we decide there's a next step for you or not. Number 3 is we're also going to nail down, at great long last, your ideal clients and audiences, who they are, where to find them, and how to connect with them so that you get booked and you get paid. And we're doing that to help you and map this out for you. If you want to leave that call and say, okay, coach, I got it, I'm going to do it on my own, fantastic. If we decide that you're not ready, that you're not, positioned and packaged for ultimately us helping you in a major, significant, dramatic way, we will say no to you before you say no to us. And we've done that, and we do that a lot. We do that all the time. So if we do work together, we're going to put you through the same program that we put all of our 6 and multi-6-figure experts through. It combines skill building, accountability, and mentoring. Those are the 3 things you absolutely need for ongoing support and direction and focus and success. It's the skills, it's the accountability, and it's the mentoring to correct course so that you're doing the exact right thing in the exact right way in the exact right sequence every single time to bring checks in the door. And that's baked into the program to make sure that you're successful. I think we're the only ones that do this. There's a ton of other courses, and you probably hired some coaches and wasted all kinds of money on boot camps and seminars that promised you the moon and then grossly under-delivered because they were not specific enough, they were not tactical enough, they were not practical enough, and they left you holding the bag saying, okay, now what? One of our recent graduates just said this to me. He said, David, I'll tell you what I love most about your program. I've taken a lot of coaching, spent a lot of money with the big names. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars, and I've never gotten such value as I got from your program. You know why? All of them leave me saying, now what? Your program is 100% now what? And I love that. I love that so much. This program is 100% now what? Right? Nothing is left out, nothing is overlooked, nothing is assumed. So if you want that kind of support and you qualify for the criteria that I just walked you through, Teresa and I would like to speak with you. It's doitmarketing.com/apply. Like I said, there's 5 spots. There's 400 people, 403 people actually, that registered for this webinar. There's 175 of you that showed up. This is not for the 175. This is for 5 of you. And you know who you are. This is for 5 of you. We don't need 10. We can't handle 15. We're not going to bring in 20. It doesn't work that way. This is handcrafted, personalized attention on your business. We are inviting you into our family if we mutually decide to work together. So we're not looking for the 175 gang. We're looking for 5. The 5 who are serious, the 5 who are committed, the the 5 who are going to be our next raving success stories, and the 5 who will have their faces among these 7 case studies in my next webinar. So that it'll be your smiling face and your results and your success story that we're bragging on to the universe. So let me leave it there. What questions do you have? If you want to book a call, you want to apply for one of those breakthrough sessions, it's doitmarketing.com/apply. We're now in our Q&A. Who's got the first question about anything that we talked about or about what this breakthrough session would be all about for you specifically? And let me go to the question box. And we got some questions flying by here again. All right. Do you get paid? So Lori has a question. Do you get paid to speak for the sponsor or not because you're trying to get clients from your audience? Oh, no. So let me clarify that. After a drink of water, let me clarify that. Sponsored speaking is paid speaking. Period. End of sentence. Mic drop. Let me repeat that in case you guys missed it. Sponsored speaking is paid speaking. Very, very, very. This is not put me in front of your audience and they'll buy my stuff. Put me in front of your audience, it'll be good exposure. That is low fee, no fee bullshit. And I want you to stop doing that right now. There is lead generating speaking that you do very intentionally and very specifically for a good reason. There is revenue generating speaking where you either get paid to speak or you get paid because you spoke. There are opportunities that are both, and those are awesome. And there's opportunities that are neither. And you're not getting leads and you're not getting paid, and I have no earthly idea why you're at the front of that room. If you're not getting leads and you're not getting paid, you should not be in that room. So let's be crystal clear about step 7. Step 7 is a sponsor pays you for 20 dates on your calendar, $7,000 per date, $140,000 relationship. They probably buy 1,000 of your books for every audience. So they're buying 20,000 books. They hire you to do 5 webinars for their online web cafe. Each of those 5 webinars is a $5,000 program. So this becomes like a laundry list of different ways that they're paying you. And they're paying you not because you're a speaker, they're paying you because you're a marketing tool. They're paying you because you're a sales tool. They're paying you because you're a public relations investment, that they want to be seen as the champion of the stakeholders that they're putting you in front of. So let's go back to Mike Roby. Mike Roby got paid many tens of thousands of dollars from John Hancock to be in front of John Hancock advisors. To be in front of financial advisors who don't work for John Hancock, but who sell John Hancock financial instruments and investments. So think of it as a triangle. There's the sponsor on one end of the triangle. They pay you on the other side of the triangle. And the third side of the triangle is the audience that they want to reach and that they want to influence. So Lori, if you decide to apply, we can talk about some strategies for sponsorship for you, but it's very, very important that you fully embrace this is not one full fee gig. This is 10 full fee gigs or 15 full fee gigs or 20 full fee gigs that a sponsorship relationship could bring you. Plus webinars, plus coaching, plus consulting, plus give us 1,000 copies of your online course, plus give us 10,000 copies of your book, plus. All of those line items are paid and budgeted in their sponsorship budget. So I've had clients with literally multi 6-figure sponsorship deals. Multi. And we dig into that in module 7, in step 7 of our mentoring. All right, let me scroll through, and some more questions I think came in here. How risky is it to change your branding or naming if you realize it's not great? How do you do it gracefully, says Laura. Well, Laura, here's the deal. If you don't change it, it's going to be a horrible name that hurts you every single day and that costs you money every single day. So if you're IBM, then you have a branding problem. If you're Laura or Peter or Dawn or David Newman or Teresa French, we can change our brand. It's a little temporary hiccup. 5 or 6 prospects get confused. We send those 5 or 6 prospects a little email, or we send out something to our email list, and you're done. Every single one of my clients that has a major brand change or a major positioning change, Scott McClymonds is a great example. Scott McClymonds' company, before he enrolled in the program, it was not CEO Velocity. We came up with that name for him. Scott is a man of God, which is fantastic, and a huge Bible scholar. One of his heroes in the Bible was Nehemiah. If you guys know the Bible really well, you'll know who Nehemiah is. And Scott's company was called Nehemiah Worldwide. Now, think about that versus CEO Velocity. Scott will tell you, Scott laughs about this today. He says, I had so many things so wrong for so long that, any one of these changes would have skyrocketed my business. But the fact that we rebranded, repositioned, had him penetrate a certain market with a certain expertise that was unique and distinct, it was a total transformation. Was it painful? Yeah, for 3 days. For 3 days, I think Scott lost some sleep. But I like Nehemiah. I like Nehemiah Worldwide. His clients couldn't even spell Nehemiah. It's got H's and I's and A's and N's in places that you would never suspect. It was impossible to say. It was impossible to spell. People had no idea what the heck he did. Compare that to CEO Velocity, right? Compare that to CEO Velocity. Who do you talk to? CEOs. What do you help them with? I help them make better, faster, smarter decisions around their leadership, marketing, and technology. Bam, 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 bam. 6-figure, multi-6-figure, 7-figure potential in that business. He's not there yet. He's not at $1 million yet, but he will be. He will be. He would not have been with Nehemiah Worldwide. And I love Scott, and Scott and I joke about this. No way. So that change was painful for 3 days and then highly profitable for years and years and years afterwards. So, Laura, if that's your situation, we can help you coach through that. We can mentor you through that, guide you through that. It's easier than you think, and it's going to bring cash in the door a whole heck of a lot faster than what you're doing now. All right. Dawn has a question. Always curious about amount of time you initially spent searching to build the initial prospect list. Well, you know what? It's not like it's half hour a day. It's half hour a day, right? You're in Pipedrive. You're doing some research. You're doing some Google searches. You're on LinkedIn. You're getting referred. You're getting introduced. You're interviewing people. You're using all the strategies that are baked into our mentoring program. So you are adding names to Pipedrive every single day. You are adding names to Pipedrive every single day. Well, I'll say it a third time. Teresa, say it with me. You're adding names to Pipedrive every single day.
Every day.
That's it, buddy. So it's not like, oh, let's do some prospecting and then we're done. Prospecting, marketing, and selling happens daily. And that's another one of these practices that Teresa and I reinforce, that a single day without a sale is like a day without sunshine. If you're not booking something or taking one step closer to a check, you are not working that day. Oh, I'm working on my blog. Oh, I'm cleaning up my office. Oh, I'm reviewing my calendar. No, not in our world and not in our program. In our program, every day you're taking 2 or 3 or 4 steps closer to a check, closer to a sale, closer to a done deal. You have to. It's not optional. If you want to make that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month extra, that's a full-time job, folks. It's a full-time job as a speaking-driven entrepreneur. So a little bit every day is what you need to be doing. Strategically, tactically, track it, measure it, optimize it, follow your closing ratio, figure out how many people do I need to talk to online, offline, on the phone, how many referrals, how many introductions, how many new conversations, how many past prospects can I go back to, how can I mine my database, how can I take advantage of my champions, how can I ask for advice, insights, recommendations, and activate all of the people who want to see me succeed. The people that do that have massive success in this program very, very quickly. And the people who don't. So prospecting needs to happen daily. And John says, just got one, which I'm guessing is a client. So congratulations, John. That's great. Just got one. Just put the fishing pole in the water. Marilyn says, who are typical sponsors? Man, everyone's loving on the sponsorship idea. So don't get me wrong. The sponsorship stuff is not easy. I mean, we go into a pretty deep dive in the mentoring program, but it's not easy and it's not quick. Very, very profitable, right? But not easy and not quick. So anyone who's got a vested interest in reaching the same audience that you do, right? So, I mean, we can kind of go down the list here. Tom Davidson, the forestry and natural resources leadership expert, any forestry company, any wood company, any pulp company, any paper products company, any supplier of technology to the natural resources world, the forestry world, lumber companies, milling companies, furniture companies. I mean, it's endless. You can kind of create this universe. You might remember our first case study, Steve Weber, he had a whole mind map around sponsorship. He had that whole kind of spider web mind map around sponsorship, and he went down the education path, but there were lots and lots of sponsors that had a vested interest in making sure that Montana school children graduate better than 47 out of 50 in the United States. And so he had exploratory conversations with them until he found kind of the sweet spot of where he needed to be, and then he sharpened that message and he pursued that handful of sponsors. All right, let's see. Well, so Marilyn, let me fix your thinking about this also. You say, what companies would sponsor a stress program? They're not sponsoring your program. That's what I said. There was a little kind of throwaway line there about you have to think more broadly about your topic. It starts with what do they want to accomplish, and then how to fit one of your programs into their goals. It's not, hey, I've got a stress program, who wants to sponsor it? Right? That is a very immature, speaker-centric kind of marketing. We do buyer-centric marketing in our program. We do decision-maker-centric marketing. It's what do they want? What do they need? Where do they need to go? Who do they need to influence? Who do they need to market and sell to and persuade? And then putting our program in the service of that campaign. That's how that works. All right. Let's see. So John says, just got a time slot. Fantastic. And I guess these are going pretty quick here. Karen says, I'm in the same spot with my branding. I'm not sure, Karen, what that means. I'm in the same spot with my branding. Is there a question behind that one? So Karen, if you're still on there, feel free to just type in what spot you're in with your branding so that we can maybe give you some insights or help you fix it. So Lori's follow-up question is, what if your website is your company name and it's a bad one? Do you not lose your current status? Well, you know what? Here's the deal. Do you want visibility for a bad brand? I mean, that's almost, if if someone else asked you this question, Lori, I know you're a super smart person. The question sounds dumb only in retrospect, right? I have a bad brand and a bad website, but I don't want to hurt my search engine ranking. If I had a bad brand and a bad website, I would want to bury my search engine ranking as quickly as humanly possible. I would want it to never be found and never exist. And then rebuild the new website with some basic search engine optimization, which you can do very affordably, and it will start to rank for the new you and not the old you. Bad brand, bad website, bad messaging, bad positioning, bad packaging. Why would you want that to be findable? I mean, that needs to go away. It needs to go away quick. It's like locking crazy Aunt Louise up in the attic. Lock her up and throw away the key. Aunt Louise is no longer your marketing team, right? Teresa and I are your marketing team. So let us help you lock Aunt Louise up in the attic so she's not blocking sales, so she's not preventing sales and revenue coming into your company. Can you succeed without having a book, says Dawn. Fantastic question again. Very quick answer is hell yes. You can absolutely succeed without having a book. That is one of the big myths that I teach and preach on all the time. You don't need a book. Here's what you need. You need tangible sources of excellence. Maybe for you, that's an article. Maybe for you, that's your YouTube channel. Maybe for you, that's a podcast. Maybe for you, that's your blog. I don't care what it is. It absolutely does not have to be a printed, traditionally published book. If people have that, great. But there are people with a market-leading podcast that are getting paid 10, 15, 20 grand to speak, and they don't have a book. There's people that have a market-leading blog in a niche, in a very specific niche, and that blog is hugely popular among that little tiny market, and they're getting paid 10, 15, 20 grand to speak. No book. No book. There's people that have YouTube videos like my friend Jill Schiffelbein with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. And Jill's been very, very successful for years and years and years. Just now, her first book is coming out. But she's been crushing it for years because her tangible source of excellence was the YouTube channel. So can you have nothing? No, you shouldn't have nothing. I'm not recommending nothing. Do you have to have a book? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So Dawn Mahoney doesn't need a book. You need other stuff, but not necessarily a book. And we help you build that. I mean, we help you build that, whether it's articles, whether it's blog posts, whether it is, any sort of tangible source of excellence, or what we call indisputable points of proof. That you know your topic, you know your market, you've got X-ray vision into their problems, heartaches, headaches, and challenges, and you can fix it. If you've got some media out there, written, video, audio, text, doesn't matter. PDFs, cheat sheets, video series, webinars, you just need something. You just need something. Let's see. What else? If you typed a question previously and I missed it, feel free to please type it in again. I apologize. These things are kind of flying by here. So Karen says, I'm a coach that covers 4 areas of life. Okay. Well, so Teresa and I have a term for that. The term is foreground, background confusion. And when you book a breakthrough session at doitmarketing.com/apply, we might be talking to you about foreground, background confusion. Here's what that means. The topic or the expertise that you think is at the foreground, what you market, what you sell, what you talk about, is really not what they want to buy. And so that needs to move from the foreground into the background. That needs to go into your backpack. That needs to be the rocket fuel that propels you to do what you do. The sharp tip of the arrow needs to be streamlined. It needs to be under one roof, one message, one integrated product suite of services, speeches, programs, coaching, consulting, so you don't look like a grocery bag speaker. So my question to you, Karen, even before you hop on the breakthrough session, is does one of them, or let me ask a different way, do 3 of them naturally and comfortably fit under one of them? So you think it's 4 different things? I'm thinking let's put a tent over all 4, or maybe one of them is the umbrella topic and the other 3 can be tucked behind it. So that now what you thought was foreground is actually background, and the overarching theme or the through line that's in the background is really the main value proposition that your clients and audiences are hungry to buy and hungry to hear and hungry to implement. So that's how to look at that with the foreground background confusion.
And David, when we were talking about the top 7 reasons to hire, Stephanie, Joseph, and Patricia were asking, what is the meaning of currency in the context of the top 7 reasons to hire?
Got it. Fantastic. So currency means that it's current. It's cutting edge. It's ripped from the headlines. It is relevant today. So a lot of folks come into our mentoring program and they have a speech or a topic or a course or something. And we say, well, when did you create this program? And they say, well, I've been starting to do this back in 2008. I said, well, when did you last update this program? And then you get the deer in the headlights. Like, update the program? No, it's the same program as I've been doing since 2008. Or 2012, or even, guess what, 2014, 2015. You're already out of date. That program is not current. That program is not relevant, because here's what happens. When we talk to conference producers, meeting planners, and association executives, one of their big wants and needs that you will never hear about, except you'll hear about it from me, is the future. So when we say current, it doesn't mean current as in up to date right now. It means current and what's coming. What's coming down the pike in the next 6 to 12 months as it relates to trends, technology, your topic, trends in leadership, trends in customer service, trends in personal finance, trends in parenting. What are the millennials doing about it? What are the Gen X people doing about it? What's happening today on the cutting edge of those industries? So not only do you have to be current to be really attractive, you have to be kind of current and a little bit bleeding edge, a little bit of crystal ball, a little bit of here's what I see coming in this topic area: employee engagement, corporate culture, employee performance, leadership, sales, customer service, team building, career management, any of these things. How will artificial intelligence come into play? How will robots come into play? How will extreme automation come into play? So and again, I'm not saying that those things have an impact on all these different topics, but if they do, they want you to be the up-to-date, most current, most recent, torn from the headlines expert. So someone said, well, how will artificial intelligence impact customer service? And by the way, the answer is huge. If you're a customer service speaker and you're like, I'm not sure what you're talking about, you are screwed. I mean, you are just screwed with a capital S. You need to be on the cutting edge of your topic. You cannot be left behind. You can't be 2 years ago. In some industries and some niches, you can't be 2 weeks ago. Right? If you're, God bless you if you're in the technology field. If you're in the technology, web, internet space, there is stuff that you just learned 2 weeks ago that's now irrelevant, that's now out of date. And there's something coming next week that's totally going to blindside you. I am thankful every day that I'm not a technology speaker, because those folks are constantly and continuously updating their material and their website and their PowerPoints and their topics and their niches and everything. It's crazy town. So do you have to do that if you're in a non-technology topic? Not to that extreme. Do you have to do it a little bit? Yes, you do. Very, very important that you do that. All right. What else? What other questions? Questions about anything we talked about today, or questions about booking your breakthrough session at doitmarketing.com/apply.
Linda has a question about large associations and a niche here. I know large associations and a niche. I've been where they don't pay speakers for the state and national conference. So when I do the research you described to look up the associations, events, states, to define tactical prospects and the sponsors, how would I know if they're actually paid rather than the pro bono speakers?
Well, so part of it is doing that market research and that intelligence test. And Teresa, thank you for sharing that question. And Linda, thank you for asking it. But that's all part of the research phase. I mean, one of the first things that you find out, right, is who's an economic buyer and who isn't. Who pays speakers and who doesn't. And sometimes you have to make a phone call or hit them on LinkedIn or ask a question or just do some deep dive research. But, guessing as to who pays speakers and who doesn't is a huge waste of your time. So some do, some don't. Who cares next? Our job is to find the buyers. And if it's not obvious, if it's not clear, we find out with a question, with a phone call, a LinkedIn message, an email, whatever. But again, think about, I've had people that get booked by quote unquote, we'd never hire speakers. If it's highly relevant, highly specific, highly customized, highly specialized, they will pay that speaker. So sometimes when you hear, oh, we don't pay speakers, is because they've talked to you for 5 minutes and they've just decided they're not going to pay you. And that's cold and that hurts. But I have had situations where, and I've had in just my case, the flip side of this, where I've got a local client here in suburban Philadelphia. It's a behavioral healthcare company called Devereaux. They've hired me 5 times. The last time was for my full fee at that time, which was 2010, and they paid me $5,000. Within months of doing that program, another local speaker trainer person said, hey, David, you've done some work for Devereaux, right? And I said, oh, yeah. She says, they don't pay, right? And I was like, hey, awkward. I said, well, why do you ask? And she says, well, because I talked to the national training manager, and they said that they don't pay speakers, and the most they could possibly pay is $1,000. So we caught that particular buyer in a lie. So here's what happens, gang. Meeting planners, conference producers, and decision makers talk about speakers, and speakers talk about buyers and prospects and economic decision makers. So, am I going to side with my client? Am I going to side with my friend? I said, I've got some evidence that is not universally true across the board. And she said, oh, you mean like, did they pay you? And I said, I just nodded my head, yes. Did they pay you like more than $1,000? I nod my head, yes. Should I ask for more than $1,000? Nod my head, yes. I say, should I charge my full fee? I nod my head, yes. Right? We never speak badly of clients. We simply answer questions with body language. So that can be a screen. Oh, we don't pay speakers. That could simply mean we're not paying you. And that hurts. I know it hurts. I'm sure I've been on the receiving end of it and not known it. But I was kind of on the kind of other end of it with my friend back in 2010. And no matter who's on which end of it, that buyer lied. And we don't know why, and it's not our job to find out why. It's your job to get your fee, stick to your fee, charge your fee, and not piss it away or negotiate it down to nothing. Not that I have strong feelings about that. But, so buyers will sometimes lie. And the larger the association, by the way, the more they lie. Just another reference point. I'm here in suburban Philadelphia. One of the biggest suburban chambers of commerce is called the Chester County Chamber of Business and Industry. I worked with them back when I was a broke-ass loser in 2004 and 2005. We did public seminars, actually, with them and through them, so I did make a little bit of money. But, they are one of these people, oh, no, we don't pay speakers. Oh, no, we don't bring in anyone who's not a chamber member. Oh, no, you can't possibly charge whatever. At their annual awards dinner, Chester County Chamber of Business and Industry, who was their keynote speaker back at the exact same time I was working with them? That's right, you guessed it, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. $80,000 speaker fee. Let me repeat that. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, speaker fee, she's exclusive with the Washington Speakers Bureau. They paid $80,000 to bring her in. Now, believe me, if I'm bringing in Madeleine Albright for $80K, trust me, I have no speaker budget left. So they were telling the truth. But did they have a speaker budget for one speaker? Yes, they did. It just wasn't me. It was Madeleine. And they paid her $80K. So that kind of cleared out the cookie jar, and they couldn't hire David Newman for 4 or 5 or 6. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. I mean, this is like sales 101, right? Buyers lie, and you have to be prepared for it, and you have to be a fearless illuminator of the truth. That's how we talk about sales, by the way, in our mentoring program, is that you're not a salesperson, you're not a peddler, you're not a pusher. Your job is this investigative sales process where your main job is to illuminate the truth. And illuminate the truth of their company, their meetings, their teams, their problems, their employees, their attendees, and just show them, shine the light on the fact that you know what they're going through and that you can help. And if there's no money at the end of that, then they were never a prospect. If there's no money at the end of that, they were never a prospect. All right. So Jackie's saying, I've been asked to speak at a huge conference for the APA in May, but pro bono. So again, you need to decide, is there an economic reason for you to be there? People misunderstand this a lot. Even our clients misunderstand this a lot. That they think the message is never speak for free. The message is absolutely not never speak for free. The message is speak for free strategically, when it makes sense, when you're in the right room in front of the right people who are there for the right reason, and you are proactively putting yourself there because you want to be there, because you know that your next 2 or 3 or 10 paid clients are there. Not because they asked, not because, it'll be good for exposure. It'll be, I'm sure there's buyers there. You never know. Something might come out of the blue, right? I mean, that's nonsense. I speak pro bono when I approach an organization and I say, I'd like to speak for your next conference. I'd like to speak for your next monthly meeting, right? I am proactive about it. I'm not reactive where the phone rings. Hi, we'd like you to speak. Oh, good. I'm coming. I'm packed. I'm ready. Let me get my plane ticket. Oh, there's no fee? No problem. I'm still coming. Shall I pack 3 pairs of underwear or 4? No. No, 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 and no. Here's the deal. Let me go over it again. I mentioned it before. Clearly, we need to drive this home again. You speak for leads, or you speak for money, or you speak for both. If it's neither, you shouldn't be in the room. Speak for leads, speak for money, speak for both. All 3 of those are awesome. Fantastic. Speak for neither is idiotic. And it's why you're treading water, and it's why you're drowning, and it's why your bank account is not where it needs to be. Because you're in non-lead generating, non-revenue generating situations, and you're taking 2, 3, 4 days of your life to go do that. Why in the world would you go do that? You wouldn't, and you're going to stop. And if we invite you to work with us, you are absolutely going to stop. Because Teresa sounds very nice on these webinars and master classes. Man, oh man, when you get her one-on-one and you're in our program, look out. Because she's going to hit you with the silly stick if you're not doing what you need to do to ensure your own financial success. You're mean, my friend.
You gave me away.
You're a bulldog.
You gave me away. You can't give away that secret sauce.
Yeah, we call her the Velvet Hammer. If you behave, you get the velvet. If you don't behave, you get the hammer. All right, I've got 1 minute left. Is there a final burning question from anybody? And John Hawkins says 3 pairs of underwear, not 4. Okay, buddy, I'm packed. I'm ready. And Thomas says thank you. What else? I think that's it. I think we're out of questions.
It looks like it.
Yeah. All right, team. Well, great to speak with you. Teresa, I think you're talking to some fantastic people coming up. I'm very excited about that.
I am.
And we're looking forward to welcoming 4 or 5 of you into the program. Out of the 400 registered, 175 showed up. I think we've got maybe 15, 16 bookings. We're not looking for 15 or 16. We're looking for the 5. We're looking for the 5 who are serious and committed and ready to rock out on their speaking-driven business. So I will see you guys soon. Teresa, you're awesome. Thank you again for your help today and always. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Sounds great. Talk to you soon, guys.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.